Welcome back to another video. My name is MaraK and this is episode 11 of Let's Design. In the last episode, we made some of the most iconic mech suits from LEGO Ninjago, such as the Samurai X mech suit or the first Pinjitzu Master mech suit. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out after this one. This video will be the biggest Ninjago project yet because today, I'm going to design the Lost City of Ouroboros. I would like to dedicate this video to Kiryuso, who made about 5 comments under a bunch of my videos asking me to build this. I hope I made you happy. Let's get started. I finally got my hands on the Axiom mod, which I'm going to use a lot from now on. I wanted it because of one trick I saw Stan616 do, which is placing an image into the Minecraft world and using it to make a layout of the build. I tried out different rotations and different scales of the image to make sure the city is as big as it is in the show. When I was satisfied with the scale, I started clearing the terrain. Then I moved the reference image down and started working on the layout. There were 2 things I immediately noticed. First thing was that the image was not taken directly from above but from an angle, so all the different buildings were slightly skewed and not symmetrical. And the second thing was that the arena in the middle was slightly rotated from the buildings around. That made things a bit harder. I decided to ignore the rotation of the central arena to make it easier for me. I used red wool to mark the central tribunes and their spacing to make sure they form an octagon. I left one side intentionally empty because that's where the snake statue will go. After I marked the 3 straight tribunes, I started marking the diagonal ones using the guiding lines I made for symmetry reasons. Then I moved on to the buildings around that form the city of Ouroboros. I marked out only 1/8 of the builds because the buildings form concentric octagons, which means that I can copy and paste around the 3 builds 7 times to mark all of the buildings. That helps me fight the fact that the image was taken at an angle. At first, I thought marking the buildings will be easy job with the Axiom mod, but that was before I found out that Axiom gets a little weird when you build diagonally. I also couldn't find a tool that makes trapezoids, meaning I had to mark the buildings by hand. When I was checking if I'll be able to paste the layout around the central arena, I noticed that it doesn't have one block center. So I had to expand it by 1 block to make all the longer walls have odd number blocks. And then I copied around the first row of buildings and started working on the other 2, which I also copied around. I chose this specific side to make the layout because in the picture it was the only side that had the last building almost fully visible. Now that the layout is done, let's build this thing. I started from the central arena again and worked my way from the middle out. The tribunes were pretty easy to build. I used smooth sandstone as the main block and smooth red sandstone and dripstone block as those orange and brown accents you can see on the real thing. Then I replaced the white wool of the outside buildings with sandstone and raised it to make the walls of the city buildings, and replaced the bottom layer with dripstone blocks and the top layer with smooth red sandstone, just like I did with the arena. Then I started working on the tribunes. In the show, the tribunes have little walls or seats in between each step, but I didn't have enough room for that, so I left it out. To make the diagonal tribunes, I first designed one and then I copied it using the Axiom mod this time. The Axiom mod is really good in this because it gives you a preview of how the build will look where you are placing it, and you can easily rotate it. After I was happy with the general shape of the arena, I moved on to the outside builds. I started by giving each building a roof. World Edit helped me with it a little. Maybe there is an easier way with Axiom. I'm just not as proficient with it yet. After the roof was in place, I gave each building the same arches or indentations or, well, those details you saw on the tribunes. There are 5 of them on each wall, on the side of the entrance walkways. Then I made an overhang around each roof using cut sandstone slabs, and on top I put mud brick walls which symbolize the tiny snake statues. From the center of the city, in front of each building, there are 2 spikes with snake statues next to them. I'm not sure if those spikes have any purpose other than decorative, but with the scale I'm building on, decoration is the only thing they can do. For the snake statues, I used mud bricks again, and then I copied and pasted the one I made next to each spike. Then I went back to the arena and made a diagonal version of the snake statue that goes between each tribune. After that, I built the second set of arches in the diagonal walls. Now everything is ready for copying around again. You can notice that one building had a hole in the roof. That was caused by a lava lake that generated there. It wouldn't let me paste blocks there with World Edit, so I had to place them by hand. Now it's time for the main feature of this build, the giant snake statue where Pythor put the fang blades to summon the Great Devourer. I struggled with this build a lot. I'm still not that good with organic builds. First I made the snake statues that have water or poison pouring out of them. I thought that these statues have to be much bigger and that they have eyes, but then I noticed they don't, which made the design process much easier. After that, I moved on to the center statue. I thought I'll make things easier for me by placing a cylinder for the body and then work my way around it, but it didn't work out, so I got rid of it and made the whole thing by hand. Or just the half of it. I copied the other half using World Edit. In the show, there is a staircase inside the statue that leads both to the mouth of the snake, where the blades go, and on top of its head. I made sure to have enough room inside the snake to fit the staircase. It's a little bit weird staircase, but hey, as long as it works, right? Now, to finish things up, I started working on the details like buttons on the ground for stones, banners on the side of the tribunes, stones that drop from the statue, and dead bushes. Then I added details on the roofs of the buildings using smooth red sandstone slabs to make the roofs look eroded over time, and I replaced some of the sandstone blocks on the roof with variations of different woods to make it look like the roof is patchy and made from more blocks of sandstone, just like it is in the show. I used Axiom mod for that again, since it's pretty easy to make rectangular shapes and rotate and place them. I think this detail really helped this build to make it look right. Somewhere in the process of building, I also replaced the black concrete in the walls with red sandstone. I noticed that that's how it is in the show. And to finish things up, I placed sand on top of the roof to symbolize that this city was raised from the bottom of the desert. Now sit back and enjoy the cinematic of the Lost City of Ouroboros. that's it for this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, consider subscribing. In the next episode, we will take a look at the Shen's Palace, so look forward to that. I also finished watching Ninjago Crystallized and started watching Dragon's Rising, so maybe I'll build those Titan mechs soon. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. See ya!